earth angels, multi-dimensional beings, starseeds, and light warriors incarnated into this 3D plane of dimensional plane. Welcome back, or hello if you're new, to another channel reading and message for you beautiful souls. I've just been sound healing before starting this reading. So you can have a nice clear frequency going into this. Before we get into your channel reading and message, which I'm absolutely excited about, I wanted to just play you a few keys of this because, as you guys know, vibrations tune what they move through, even through the screen, even through your computer or phone or whatever you're watching this on. And this number 6 right here, this is the tong drum. But this number 6 up here, that one, it is doing bits. I can feel it vibrating through a whole auric field. So that we can all maybe tune to the same frequency, let's have a little, that's 6, and that is beautiful. Okay, and ready into the reading. So also let me know down below if you feel like it would be nice to do some videos of like some sound healing with this or something, or just bringing this in at the end of readings as well. I just think it's such a powerful healing tool. Anyway, you guys, today's reading and message is really interesting, all about your clairs. You guys, if you found this reading, if you are watching this reading right now, you are spiritually in tune in a way that clairs, and if you've heard of that, clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, claircognizance, these are all ways of communicating, translating frequencies from the astral planes, the spirit planes, through your senses to be translated through your vessel. You guys are translators of energy. You translate energy and you translate frequencies that you come across in the astral planes through your vessel. There's many different ways you translate frequencies, because remember, everything in your inner realms, in your mental realms, you are wandering the quantum realm, the astral plane, which is a dimension full of all these different frequencies. And frequencies can be translated into many different ways and versions of energy. So say a spirit guide or a passed over loved one can come through as a particular frequency that you will mentally or astrally connect with. That frequency will then start to be processed and filtered through your senses. Now, the more that your senses become amplified and the more sensitive you are in your senses, the more that you're going to translate frequencies more clearly or gather more information from the frequencies that you are processing through your vessel. So you guys are translators of energy. This can be in so many different ways, 3D, 4D, 5D. Yes, this can be, a lot of you are going to be gifted at some form of writing, communication, drawing, poetry, art, or even just communication with other people, because you have an ability, first of all, the sense of yours that has always been most prominently heightened, that you have noticed in this 3D reality, is your feelings, your sixth sense, your feelings. And so if your feelings are sensitive, if you're a sensitive person, you're very receptive to energy, your feelings, empathic abilities, you guys, this is really saying that you are gifted, because if you have a heightened sensitivity to feelings, this means that you're able to process frequencies through your third eye, or your heart space, or your feeling space, and you're able to pull out of those frequencies and decode and gather more information than if your feelings were dulled down, right? So in this way, you guys get a lot of downloads, channelings, and messages, epiphanies, realizations, golden keys of understanding and higher truths and awareness through your feeling experiences. And yes, that can be for your external experiences, but it can also be whilst you're sat in meditation, having certain feeling experiences. Those feelings are really frequencies that you are connecting with mentally, astrally, that you are translating through your vessel. You guys are a translator. So again, in a 3D way, you seem to be able to communicate your emotions to a clearer level than maybe you think, because a lot of you are tapping into and have throughout your life tapped into very complex emotional frequencies. The word complex when it comes to emotional frequencies is interesting because complex means subtle energy. The higher the electromagnetic wave frequency means the smaller or the shorter the frequency. And these are subtle energies. Complex frequencies and emotions you have been accustomed and tapped into, and you experience some very abstract and layered frequencies of emotions. And so to you, you may feel like at points in your life, maybe you felt like you weren't a good communicator, or it was hard to translate your feelings into words, or your feelings out to speak them, or to lay them out because of how complex they are. But in reality, because of this, you are actually a gifted communicator. People, when you speak to them, they feel like you communicate your emotions effortlessly, even when you yourself might not feel that way because of how complex you're feeling things internally. But the thing is, you guys, is that this is a translational gift of yours, because to translate feelings means to observe them and to unpick them, right? To filter them. You have this heightened inner observer. So the inner observer is almost this higher thought monologue. It's the thought monologue that is the narrator that narrates and observes and makes observations over your current running trail of thought or feelings closer to your mundane day or life or reality, right? I don't know why I said mundane then, but to your reality. So we're processing things, we're thinking, and certain emotions are rising from my day to day. And then on top of those, like, springing up of emotions and thoughts, I am the awareness that's actually observing those. So this feels like you are unlocked into your higher awareness, your higher observer, and you actually use that to be able to view your thoughts and emotions. So not only are you tapping into more complex and subtle frequencies internally, you're actually able to view them from outside of them. And I feel like you guys are very in tune with your emotions. As much as they can be very complex for everyone, you guys really are a gifted translator. And I feel like your friends or family have told you this, or they think this, or this is an energy that is strong in your auric field, otherwise it wouldn't be coming up in the reading. So there could be something that you do connected to art, expression, communication, or maybe there's someone that you're really impacting right now in a very positive way, in a very inspirational or expansive way, from the fact that you are tuned into your emotions in this way. And when you speak about them, you're almost laying them out and translating. So you're moving inner frequencies to the outer through voice, communication, words. But also, again, this can be in other ways, such as different art forms, different expressions like dance or singing, or there's just so many things that this can be with. But at a higher soul level, this is a translation of energy. So you're tapping into frequencies internally in the astral realms. Some of the frequencies coming up are from different aspects of self, different chakras. Some of these frequencies are, dormant energies in the astral planes. Some of them are spirits in the astral planes, guides, beings. And you are, or what's being focused on in this reading is your clairs, your senses. So your communication with self, consciousness, source, and spirit is being amplified, clarified. You are someone who has had an amplification of your senses in this incarnation, or incarnating. Like, you may find that through your incarnation certain ones heighten or become more sensitive, and you may find that certain ones have always been very strong, maybe your whole life. But in essence, when we talk about the clairs being these spiritual abilities or gifts to translate communication from the inner to outer, again, you guys being a bridge between the astral realms and the physical, because a lot gets stuck in the mind, right? A lot gets stuck in the mind that wants to be expressed from the collective. You seem to pick up on those energies and translate those energies. Whether that is just like, this is so interesting, because when I say a lot wants to be expressed from the collective, these can be certain feelings that people feel about their personal lives that linger in the astral realms, because we are all connected and cycles are all connected. Like, the energies here in the astral, we're going through them collectively because we are all connected. We're all consciousness perceiving one another. So in those astral subconscious realms, or in your subconscious, there's certain energies that you feel called to express this lifetime, because you are actually moving those energies out from the astral into the physical to be expressed in divine order of energy balance within the universe. Everything's mirrored from inner to outer, and inner energy naturally wants to be expressed. That reminds me of a reading we did once that I'll link down below, because it, yeah, definitely could be relevant for some of you guys watching. The energy is always naturally wanting to be expressed, and when it gets almost stuck in the astral, I feel like it's highlighted and amplified and brought forth to the surface of your conscious mind, or the star seed's conscious mind in the collective. It's scattered around to be expressed, because again, not everything that wants to be expressed is necessarily from us. It can be collectively, but we're all going through shared collective experiences. So to be able to translate these is very powerful, because it's really extremely healing. For example, a lot of artists, singers, or songwriters might get gifted to them a lot of astral frequencies that have been stored and are dormant, that are wanting to be expressed. And so they move through the collective to certain people. This can be like tarot readers as well, or speakers, to unfold certain concepts, certain frequencies, and certain emotions, in order to translate them, because certain things are harder to translate than others, and certain things are easier. And it's just that, you know, we're all doing this collective work for one another of inner to outer translation, moving our inner astral, and expressing it into the physical. So that was one point. But yeah, so you guys are a bridge or a gateway or a translator, whatever that means for you, because again, there are many different timelines coming through for how that could apply for different people watching. Again, some like more to do with like the physical 3D expression, some to do with more communication, some to do with more like a platform, some to do with more like mediumship and tarot reading, some to do with more like friends and family soul contracts that you're helping assist the conscious expansion of through having this gift of translation. So now that we've tied that energy up, let's actually get into the reading and message. Oh my god, 14. Okay. So your clairs are about to be utilized and tapped into to a whole brand new level, you guys. You are in preparation for this now. All the clairs relate to our senses. The more that these senses become amplified or stronger, the more that you have clearer communication of frequency processing or experiencing. So everything is communicating through energy and frequencies, vibration waves, okay, electromagnetic waves. Thoughts, feelings, they all hold a vibration, and that's all we're ever experiencing to express and translate. Frequencies get translated or expressed through all of the through all of the chakras and all of the elements as well. So a frequency can be expressed through thought or through air, communication. A frequency can be expressed through emotion, okay, through water, which can be like something creative. A frequency can be expressed through pentacles, through earth, and that can be something that's like a project that's physically created or something that is physically tangible, or built up from a particular frequency. Something can be expressed through, did we say fire? Actions, certain actions and things like that. So it's really interesting. So you pick up on these frequencies and they're processed or filtered through your senses. The senses then pull information from them as they are translated and observed. So as frequencies move through your vessel, they are passed through your senses, okay? And all of these senses are processing these frequencies and feeling them to different levels, and seeing these frequencies to different levels. When we talk about clairvoyance, clear sight, this is that the more we build up our third eye vision space, the more that when a frequency passes through us, the more effortlessly we might get that frequency observed and turn into an actual picture form through its observation, turning that frequency wave into light particles, right? Because we know quantum law of observation, you observe a frequency wave, it changes the state of those particles or atoms to become like light photons. And what makes up anything here? Light. What makes up pictures on a TV screen? Light, you know? And so the stronger each of these senses become, the more clearer that the frequency is able to be translated in that format. So say for like clairvoyance, that's like picture format, can also be related to dreams and your third eye vision space, the black space that we've spoken about before, or some people commented that theirs was completely white. I find that so interesting because yeah, it's like this never ending space some of you are entering. That is definitely a connection to the astral that you're having in a clairvoyant way, because to see yourself within the astral planes that way, that is a clairvoyant. You're translating frequencies into imagery. So frequencies can be translated into feelings, into sounds, into textures that we can feel internally. And this is also reminding me that you guys, I feel like you guys actually have, to a certain degree, is it called synesthesia? Where the senses are almost crossed over. So you actually have synesthesia. If anyone, actually I'm not sat here telling you what you have, but you guys, you can associate and cross over different senses to different things. A lot of you watching are very tuned into your senses, and so you can divinate certain things and pull them into their frequencies and then retranslate them. Okay, like certain colors for you will have maybe certain feeling responses in you. We can get vibe check, like you get vibes of things have a certain vibe to you. And I do feel like some of you are in touch with this cross wiring of senses in certain types of ways, which is very interesting because everything here is a frequency that's been materialized. So if I have an angel that I'm connecting with, that angel will be actually just a frequency of energy. That frequency of energy can come across as an angel. It can also come across in different physicalized expressions of that frequency, such as, we used to do this a lot, angelic realms. I connect a lot to like white flowers, white lilies, or blossom trees, sunlight energy, or like white doves, things like that. Like we have these associations. So anyway, let's not get lost in the little loopholes in the astral. Let's continue with the message. But you guys have very much heightened senses. You have a strong translation between the astral and physical, for your own self and other people that you assist with that, because everyone's impacted by your existence in the way that you are, who is around you. And I feel like you guys are having this heightened connection to your senses because you are being angelically assisted here in this incarnation, in this lifetime. And to have heightened senses means that your guides can communicate with you in a lot stronger and in a easier manner, the messages become clearer. And you may have been through phases of time and processes where certain senses became heightened. So when I say that your clairs are about to level up in some type of way, there's actually a preparation to this. Before we start utilizing our clairs for communication with our guides and spirit guides, remember we have clear sight, clear hearing, clear feeling, clear knowing, clear smelling, clear taste, right? All these things, clear touch, or I don't know. There's all these different ones to do with the different senses. And before you start utilizing these, because this does feel significant. Now, these are collective readings, so this part might be more specific, but the main message is that you are being prepared because you're about to utilize a particular clair of yours in a very profound way. This could be for a personal reason or something that you start doing. Like someone could start tarot reading, or someone could start doing some type of healing work, or something where this could be really relevant. Someone could even be starting a new type of job, and it's going to be very beneficial for you to be connected to a specific clair in a more amplified way. For example, if you're about to open up your creative gifts and start a path of creation or painting or designing, your guides might help you open up your clairvoyance, because clairvoyance, your clair sight, is very much connected to your intuition, your imagination, right? And imagination is where we can form these creative visions. So this is why it's very abstract, because in many different ways, we can build up or have these clairs amplified, because we can utilize them throughout our day-to-day and our life, and to maintain that connection and communication with self, source, and our spirit guides. So that's very differing, but you guys, it is being in preparation. One thing that you can tell maybe which one is going to amplify, or maybe for some of you it's all of them. Overall, general, you're going through some deep shifts, but my guides were telling me that you will notice before you start to step into a utilization of one of your clairs to a deeper level, you will notice in preparation that that particular sense will become heightened. You'll become more sensitive in that particular area. Something I've noticed recently, so this could be relevant for some people as well, is clear smell. Like smell has been extremely heightened. I've noticed my smell be heightened recently in a way of the fact that when one of your senses become heightened, say clairaudience, some of you could be clairaudient, externally and internally clairaudient, and you may notice that before you start maybe using that clair more for like connecting to your guides or spirits and things like this, or other people's higher selves, that sense of yours heightens. So everything might become a bit more sensitive to you in your sound. Sounds become louder, you start hearing the buzzing of electricity, you start hearing things you couldn't hear before, everything becomes more amplified. Now with any of the senses, this amplification and sensitivity comes with its ups and downs. There is both ends, up and down, for each and every sense, and there's very much uncomfortable experiences when the senses get heightened, and there's also very beautiful experiences. It's all just a contrast. If your smell is heightened, like what's been happening with me, you guys, is that clairsentience, or whatever the scent one is called, and I like to refer to them as clear whatever they are. So clear smelling can be very beneficial, because we can smell certain spirits that can be around us, or certain energies that can be around us. So we start to smell things like energy frequencies. Lower frequencies can have quite unpleasant smells, and higher frequencies can have quite beautiful smells. And that's just one way to connect better with what guide is coming through. Say, for example, I'm knowing a spirit guide is coming through, and I start smelling something very sweet or fruity or flowery or floral, then I'll be like, oh, right, that's a sign of that frequency is translating in that manner. I know what kind of vibrational plane certain beings are residing in, so I can kind of pinpoint and get familiar and connect closer with what spirit's wanting to come through. And with the smell as well, it's like when that becomes heightened, There can also be other things experienced through your senses that were not experienced before, like memory recall of smells or sounds, clairaudience. This is the thing as well, is like through the senses you might start to notice a memory recall. And when I say that, I mean when you recall that smell or that sound or that voice or that moment or that vision, it comes back up for you to smell it again. Like say I start thinking of a certain thing, I might start smelling it even if it's not around me. So these are like your senses are heightening, and they already were actually very heightened, and this could have been something that you have noticed in yourself, because for example certain places can be maybe very loud for some of you, or you could have quite strong visceral experiences to things depending on which sense has been heightened for you. So you have heightened senses because you have more open clairs. Sorry, I went back then. You have more open clairs, which are your communications with the astral planes, your higher self, the spirit dimensions, other people's higher selves, etc. And I think we've asked this question before, why is this? So why do you have more open senses, sensitivities, and clairs? It's really linked to the soul and being that you are. You have really opened up your consciousness to some very deep and expanded frequencies throughout many different incarnations. There's also something about the role that you incarnated as here this lifetime, and why it is essential for you to be more tuned in than maybe certain others, because we all have different roles, we all have different life paths and quests and missions, so to speak, and fulfillments. And you know, I feel like you're here to experience this plane in a different way, and you're here to experience this plane from a higher dimension, and simply because of that you're going to experience it differently. Experiencing this plane from a higher dimension means we experience more information, we experience a differentiation with all things like time, colors, the senses, and it changes our whole perception and experience of reality. And those experiences are woven out to be that way so that we can gain from them what we need. You are on an accelerated path of ascension, and some of you are carrying out important healing work here. Not some of you, me. Not some of you, all of you watching this reading are carrying out some very, 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 very interesting, mind-boggling spiritual work here. And we said this, it's your presence, it's your frequency. Let alone anything you go out and set a conscious intention to do, you are already fulfilling your purpose and your healing through you being you. The frequencies you hold, you know, everything's always interacting with each other. If I've got this plant over near here me, and that plant will have a frequency, and that will be affecting my space. Do you think my plant is going out the way to tell me compliments? I mean, maybe if I telepathy we can, because obviously, you know, everything's living, everything can be communicated with, but it doesn't need to say anything, it doesn't need to do anything. The presence of my plant is changing my auric field and energy. That is like you're a beautiful flower, and you're already carrying out this healing work in many ways that we won't go over all of it because we have spoken about this in readings before. But yeah, so you're picking up on these frequencies, they're being processed, filtered through your vessel and your senses. The same as this can go for translation of frequencies internally to externally through your vessel, you're also doing this externally too. Like for example with this plant, if you were sat in a room with a person, they're going to be emitting frequencies, wavelengths, right? They're going to be radiating out. The same as like when I play a tune on my tongue drum. It is vibrating out of it, those sound waves, the same as like we are rippling out of us frequency waves from our electromagnetic field. And when people are rippling out these frequency waves from their electromagnetic field, wow. Sorry, this girl had really beautiful blue hair outside, it was just lovely. Got me all distracted. Yeah, when people are radiating out these frequency waves, which is interesting because like say that girl I looked at and I was like, wow, her hair, like it was so beautiful. Like I'm connecting to a frequency, she connected me to a frequency of admiration and like light up, you know what I mean? So It's like even just existing, like you might not know, but like someone can see you walking in the street and you can change their whole vibrational frequency by them just observing you, you just being observed, you know? Because when we observe people, we tap into a lot more than we realize. And even when people are disconnected from their intuition or their feelings, when they see you, they are also picking up on more information than just the physical. They're seeing you, they're watching you, they're looking at your frequency. Anyway, off track. These sound waves rippling out, you are picking these up from people, objects, things, living things all around you. And these frequencies you're picking up on, you're translating through your senses. And so you're having certain experiences physically or emotionally, or depending on what this is, that are you decoding frequencies around you. And you can use your vessel as a translator to gather information of those around you, your spaces around you, things around you, and things within and internally inside of you. And so, yeah. So before or in preparation for deeper utilization of your clairs, you will notice that particular senses will heighten depending on what clair it is. So we said about the clear smell, you will notice smells are stronger and imprint in your memory stronger, and can even smell something through memory recall of it. Clear sight, you may notice that your dreams are becoming more vivid, or you have inner visions becoming more vivid or frequent, or you could be having more creative ideas and seeing things in your mind's eye more frequently. Clear knowing and also clear feeling can have similar. It can be that you notice that you start noticing more is one of them, but you notice you become more emotionally sensitive as well before we start utilizing that clair too. That's the one I feel like is interesting, because we can become very sensitive, and when this happens we can experience some like lower frequencies because of how sensitive we are, the same as we can experience higher frequencies. So having like your senses amplified to be utilized in this way is really a gift, but all gifts can also be perceived as curses, especially in this society, right? So it may just be that you notice things more. So say you have a heightened senses and you go into like a shopping center or something, you may be able to feel that energetically way differently to before, because it's almost like this energy distortion around you. Because like some of you with the clear feeling, like you're very tapped in, and it's like when you go around certain people, and we said this before in another reading, when you go around certain people, it's almost like you're walking downhill, or like that. Does this make sense? If imagine your aura is almost stretching and molding and changing. It's like something feels like this, and we can experience the movement of energy as almost pressure around us, and especially when we're walking through very dense places, busy places, and things like that. So like navigating through this society with heightened senses can be interesting to navigate, and I feel like it's interesting to navigate, but at the same time you're on a path that's very different. And so it's okay for you to have heightened senses, because you're let me just try translate this. So if you were to be on another path, you might have your senses dulled down so that you can inhabit that timeline of lifestyle. You guys are inhabiting a different timeline of lifestyle this lifetime. One of more solitude for beginners sometimes, one of more isolation or being in nature, or spaces that are maybe further away from these societal built up places. Like some of you might live in quite rural areas. If it's not that, maybe you want to, or there's something about your future path where it's safe for you to have senses heightened at such a way, because your lifestyle is going to be different in order to accompany and maintain that, right? In different ways. So maybe you do things a bit differently to those around you, or you have different social norms or routines or something like that because of this. Anyway, the clear hearing, we can hear sounds louder, our hearing can become amplified, or we can actually start hearing more frequencies. So ringing, high pitch ringing in the ear. Some of you start hearing spirits or angels singing, things like that. All of these have their benefits and challenges. Again, taste, we can have heightened taste similar to smell. These are highlighting and communication between you and your astral frequencies will become even clearer. There is a guide or a spirit working with you astrally who is assisting in these teaching processes of energy receiving and energy interpretations. That's what it is. When frequencies get filtered through the senses, whatever that sense is that it's filtering through, that sense will interpret that frequency, right? So when I say pull information from it, I really mean interpret. And again, interpret isn't the right 3D word either, because it's almost as if it transforms. When your sense has a frequency put through it, it's transformed into a new state that we can perceive or experience in a different way to observe and then gather information from. So you guys very much are energy readers, you're communicators, and you're pulling and receiving a lot of information through all of your senses that is giving you insights to some very deep intuitive truths, or breaking down of reality, or seeing deeper into those around you or things around you, things like this. So yeah, there is a guide moving with your inner dialogue. There is a guide assisting you, working with you internally, who, as you're experiencing certain sensations inside, you'll have a certain thought that tells you what that is. Oh, I'm feeling this way. And if you get an answer to that, like, there's a guide who is moving your trail of thought or your inner monologue down certain realization paths as you're having certain experiences that help you, teach you, that show you, that put two and two together. You have many answers inside of yourself because all your guides and the whole universe is inside of you, helping and teaching you move through these energies. So yeah. Yeah, that's the reading. Wow. So you guys could be having heightened downloads at the minute. There's definitely something about a sense being heightened. Which one that is for you will differ person to person, things like that. I do feel like you're stepping into a time where they're about to be utilized in a deeper way. Maybe you start something because of this, or maybe you step into a certain embodiment of a certain energy. I know there's been a lot of readings talking about how you're stepping up into a higher self aspect, and maybe there's certain things or passions or hobbies that you do in that timeline of your higher self aspect, that you utilize certain senses of yours more than in past timelines. Okay, because in different timelines we do different things, and you're really going through these ascensions and shifts in consciousness, and stepping up and shifting, and and again, like we say, it's not about always ascending. It's that you're naturally coming to a point in a cycle where you're about to be in a higher self aspect. Then maybe you'll move to a different one, come back to that one. We're all here, there, everywhere, but you're moving into a higher self aspect, and in that aspect of self, that is an avatar of yourself that's residing in certain timelines. And in those timelines are all differing. Some of you are doing certain things in those higher timelines where you're utilizing these abilities in certain ways to a deeper level, whether that's to manifest your dream reality, co-create, to materialize more, to end certain cycles in your life, to reprogram certain cycles in your life, like all these different areas. So that's where I'm going to leave today's reading, beautiful souls. I love you so, so, so much. And yeah, I will speak to you all next time. Mwah. Mwah. Okay.